Hello and welcome to Curveball. I am so excited to share this next guest with you because I really resonated with her, I guess, when she applied with what she was talking about relative to entrepreneurialism. And if you're, especially an early stage entrepreneur, listen, because I think that she is absolutely going to give you some really good things to really save you overwhelm and burnout. So let's get started. Most people start a business because they're great at what they do, not because they want to run one. That's the curveball Enel Soeson helps solo entrepreneurs face head on. As the co-founder of Denk B2B, Enel teaches coaches, healers, creatives, and consultants that they don't need more clients. They need better ones. Oh my God. Hallelujah. By shifting from chasing private clients to partnering with businesses who already have budgets, they stop hustling, start earning, and finally find peace in their work. And now, welcome to Curveball.
I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Heather.
Thank you. Hi, thank you so much. So one of the things that I just really was really taken with when I was reading your stuff is you said most solopreneurs are not actually entrepreneurs by nature. They're really talented people with no structure. So can you start by explaining how you came to learn that and what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think there's different factors here in play. I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the things is, like I mentioned earlier, is like they have to be a little bit crazy. So sometimes the solopreneur is just somebody trying to find something that they can just step out of their 9 to 5 that's going to
Right.
define them as like, okay, I'm like in charge of my
Mm-hmm.
future, my how much money I make. I'm not tied into the hours I put into my work. I don't have to suffocate myself anymore,
Right.
through that structure that we're like so conditioned. It's so like brainwashed almost, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things. And I think the other thing that's super, super important is that we just need to understand that a lot of the other side is people that are just like really good at what they do. Like, you
Right.
know, they've been talking about a topic, for example, a coach,
Mm-hmm.
their whole life, right? Their career, maybe they started out as a teacher, they were teaching, I don't know, like some, entrepreneurship class
Mm-hmm.
at
Right.
school, and they've always been in that environment, and now they're thinking, okay, well, I don't want to be doing those hours in school and put up with those,
Right.
you know 10th graders, and they're just too much for me. Why don't I just kind of find my own way with that? I take everything I teach anyway, and I get
Right.
myself some clients that could pay me, really the value that I think I'm worth, right?
Right. Yes,
Or,
exactly.
yeah,
So
where
what's interesting is when people leave the structure of a job, which is rich in context, right? Your by your title, and so then you become an entrepreneur. And
yeah.
and oftentimes people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so burnt out on my job. I want to become an entrepreneur and have control, have work-life balance." But I have found, especially when I started my business, you can just trade one burnout for the other. Like you can have a low grade burnout and be an entrepreneur. I find because it's easy to work a little bit every day. And then especially when it's fun, like it's fun and you're having fun. But it's so you work with so many entrepreneurs who feel like that. They're overwhelmed, overworked, and underpaid. Like they're doing all this effort. They're working actually more than they did at their corporate job and they're just not seeing traction. What is the most common trap they fall into without even realizing it?
Well, I think it kind of ties into your introduction, to be honest, because
Mm-hmm.
and that really
Yes.
just provides them so much security that it outweighs the little stress they might have, or maybe just putting in extra hours for that job, or maybe that job is not really serving them or their purpose
Mm-hmm.
anymore, a little bit off their, course, so to speak.
Right.
But then there's another person that is really like suffocated, right? I don't like the people I work with. I
Right.
can't stand the work I'm in. Like they make me miserable.
Right.
My boss says horrible things to me.
Right.
That level just outweighs the level of that comfort of the regular check, so to speak.
Right. Right.
And I have been there. I've kind of experienced that level of like, okay, going into the, like, it was my very first job. It was just like an illusion, a fantasy that I wanted to experience and really, really be part of like a team and work at a
Right.
common goal. And, I had been an entrepreneur my whole life. And now I felt like that was such a great, amazing challenge that I
Right.
really wanted to take on. And I really didn't, I think I just hustled and just put my heart into it so hard and heavy,
Mhm.
kind of like a race. It was just an amazing race. With I had like this like a road runner.
Right, right. Yes. Yeah.
And like, you don't realize you're running so heavy and hard. You're just like, at one point you just wake up in the morning, you're like,
Yes.
wait a minute, like, I don't want to go to work today. I just feel miserable. I'm not happy with where I'm at in my life. And then you just start
Right.
putting the pieces together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a ugh. Like, I just don't like that. Well, I just don't like that feeling, too. And then I'm so grateful. I've always really loved what I've done. So even if I was at a company that I didn't really like the company, I always really loved my work. And
Yeah.
so that was really good. But yeah, I get it. And then you can, like, if you're running at that pace, like how do you become aware if you're going too fast? Like if you're because I just want to I was at this marketing conference earlier this week, and there was somebody who spoke, and she was talking about burnout as not being overworked, but literally being just a disconnection from yourself. And
Yeah.
so I thought, wow, that is such an interesting way to think about it. But I would not know, like, how can you tell? What are the tells if you're feeling disconnected from yourself? Is it that feeling of heaviness or like,
Yeah, I think it's just like, the little things that used to make you smile, they don't make you
right?
smile anymore. You're not as
Mm,
sensitive to maybe the people that are next to you, your family. Maybe the kids are just becoming more like
right.
louder, maybe the noises. Like, I think people really
Yes.
translate that in different ways. And you can't really put that all in like a package deal. And that's why it's so kind of dangerous at the same time, because you don't really know that it's coming. When it's
Right. Right. Yes.
kind of when it's already sometimes too late. Like, a lot of people, like, people have a heart attack, people have a health issue. Those are extremes. But
Right.
some people really, like myself, I'm a very emotional person at nature, and just an outpour of just emotion that doesn't make sense. That's like not natural
Right.
to your being.
Yes.
Or another kind of and manifestation, my case is like the
Mm-hmm.
need for to sleep more.
Right.
And I think that's where I kind of like rejuvenate whatever
Yes.
is out of balance, and really that's my way to balance everything. But I think a lot of times it's really just like being extra stressed, and you don't
Right.
irritated, and
Yeah.
not really feeling the joy of the life anymore. You just
Right.
um,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. You just because I know sometimes like you're just like I've been in a situation where you're like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Which is no fun for anyone involved, but I know what that feels like. So you said most service providers don't need more clients, they just need better ones. I love this because it took me, I think, until my first year of business, I was just trying to figure everything out. My second year, I realized, oh, I only have to do work I love. Like I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And then my third year was when I really realized, like, oh, I have complete control over who I invite into my business as my clients, and I don't have to work with assholes.
Yeah.
If I don't want to, which is so wonderful. So and then once I did that, like once I really realized who my people were, oh my gosh, that's like when I really got into my groove. So I love that you're talking about this.
Yeah.
Why is this such a hard mindset shift for people to make?
I think because, again, like, in order to make that mindset shift,
Yeah.
I was going to say something else that I don't know where that came
Oh,
from.
well, yes.
Mind shit shift. I was like, where's
Yes.
that
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
Let's just put that out there. because it sometimes is not that great, right? We
Right.
have
Yeah. It's
time.
seriously.
So I think, first of all, you really need to become clear of like what your needs are and who
Mm,
you are, right? Because your energy attracts. So if you
right.
want better clients, you need to understand like, okay, how do I serve those
Mm,
really higher end clients, right? People that
right.
really could pay me. Let's say I'm a coach and
Mm-hmm.
I want my service to be maybe $50,000 per client, right? So I need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to present myself a certain way to
Right.
attract
Yes.
that level of client, right? Because they want a level of clarity. If you're not able to position yourself as
Mm-hmm.
someone who could really benefit them at a higher level, like at that level, they're
Right.
hiring you because you're the only one that can deliver the results that they're
Yes.
looking for. And so if that it doesn't, clarity is not like clear in your offer, in your
Yes.
presence, who you are and what you do, then that's the hard part, is like
Right.
really understanding that clarity. And
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is exactly what branding does for you. This is why I love branding so much, because you understand how you show up in the market. And it's
Mhm.
not like when I say showing up, I don't mean like you're filtered and everything's perfect and your lighting's amazing. I mean that you have a clear and strong opinion and value proposition too. And I know working with companies, because I work with quite a few leadership consultants who talk about like, this heart, like, oh, I'll work with your leaders and they'll become more compassionate and more heart centered. And I'm like, that's all nice and good, but they're hiring you because there has to be like bottom line impact. They're looking for results.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to communicate what it feels like and looks like to work with you. We're saying the same. That's so that's, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I love that. So your work at Denk for B2B focuses on clarity and simplicity over hustle, which I love. So can you share a moment from your own journey, like when you were just like, oh my God, I'm working so hard. I'm working so hard. What am I doing? Like, what if I made this easy? Like what allowed you to experience that to the point that you now teach it?
So it really was a lifelong journey. And I don't want that to sound like, you know,
Right.
cliche, but it really was, because
Right.
me working as an entrepreneur, I started my journey very early on.
Yeah, you said you were always not 15.
I was 15 when I was first kind of tapped into the business world, right? Not in the sense
Mm-hmm.
of running a business at first, but I was very
Right.
much tapped into that world of like hustle, of like being professional, being on time, like what is the energy you bring, like how you present yourself, how you talk to people, being responsible of delivering good results, all of that stuff. And then from that point, it became to like me saying like, okay, well, I've learned so much. Let me just take what I've learned and start a business myself. So
Right.
I ended up actually creating, it was like a fashion modeling agency back in Europe.
Wow.
I was like creating careers for these young women.
Were you a model yourself?
I was, yes.
Oh
Yes,
my
I was.
gosh.
It's not something, it's something kind of like a crazy, intense phase that I guess you would have to go through from like
Right.
15,
Yeah.
16, 17. I did it quite a few years, but it just teaches you so much about life and people.
Right.
And
That's why you're so good on camera. Like it's so interesting because I was like, oh, you're so comfortable on the camera. I would love to see her. One of my friends is a model and was a model when she was younger. And she just showed me her portfolio. And I was like, I can tell it's her, but it's also like not her at the same time. Like,
yeah,
I would love to see some of your modeling photos.
yeah, you just become a canvas of like
Right.
really that's what makes a good model, is you just a perfect canvas to whatever needs to be, it's art, you're
Right.
helping it
Yes.
become alive. But it was such a transition between like, now being a talent agent and creating business yourself. And then from that point on, it was just several other businesses that I was part of. And then I was very much consumed with like marketing and branding,
Mm-hmm.
and I just found it so fascinating, that world.
Yeah.
I was like, just like a sponge of like trying to take every bit of like information that I could. And I was also really determined to just understanding, okay, like what makes a good entrepreneur, because there's so many
Mm-hmm.
people trying and not so many people succeeding at the level they
Right.
want to succeed.
Yes.
And that's what kind of like you mentioned branding, and you mentioned having that differentiator
Yes.
in what you do. And I think
That's
that
where the juice is. That's the
that's
good
where
part.
the juice
Yeah.
is, because if you're not able to be yourself, like you're scared to open up your true, like maybe you're a bit weird, like maybe you're not like a
Yeah.
normal person, let that come out, because that's what's going to make you memorable. If you're
Right.
just another coach doing your thing, you're just a boring person, maybe, that is
Right.
not gonna stick out. It's like men, right? If you think of like men and women, they always pick the woman that gives them the more like, she's so different and interesting, right?
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
want the perfect, boring wife. They want somebody to keep
Right.
them on their toes. And
Yes. Yes.
it's just like a random example, but
Yeah, no, but I totally get that too, because it's like one of the things I like about that from a messaging perspective is I always like tell people, look for the gaps, try to figure out what no one is talking about that literally you're like, oh my gosh, like I got to make sure people know this. I said, because that gives you this contrarian point of view. You can say it gives you immediate authority because you're like, hey, I'm looking out over my whole niche and no one's talking about this. And then it sort of triggers that curiosity loop where people want to understand, well, what's no one talking about? So it's this really beautiful way to really own an opinion. And I just know what's happening in marketing in 2026 is it is going to be so important to have a really strong opinion. Not not it doesn't have to be controversial. Like a strong opinion does not mean controversial. It just means a very clear opinion that is yours. Or how would you describe that? Because
yeah,
you want to be contrarian but not controversial. Like that's because right? Yeah.
I think if you are controversial, that's fine. If you're not, that's fine. Then you have to have another element that makes
Right.
your messaging kind of
Okay.
memorable.
Yeah.
It's just like
Right.
people need to remember you. That's the thing. They need to
Yes.
remember something that you are saying that is a little bit different. If it's the same idea we keep hearing over and over again by different influencers, it's not going
Mm-hmm.
to stick out. Maybe you remember the one that said it first. But
Right.
if you
Right.
now come to the table with like, you know what, guys, you've been doing this whole thing wrong for 50 years. Now
Yeah.
I want everybody to do it that way. And
Right.
it's like a whole new concept. It's like people are like, wait a minute, like who is this person? Like why didn't anyone else ever talk about this before? And they're going to remember you for
Yes.
saying it, and being a thought leader on the topic,
Yes. Yep.
being really the subject matter expert. And if it's like a really weird kind of like dabbles into like different areas of like, okay, it's not one clear road of like, okay, they are,
Right.
let's say, like an marketing expert, but they're bringing in like psychology, for example,
Right.
into what they are teaching and talking about. Now it becomes something very unique and different, and especially if you're able to bring in your personality, I think.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, true, this is going to be so important because AI is just creating this messy sea of mediocrity. And so having your own distinct opinion and maybe working and collaborating with AI, but not letting it be your voice is going to be it's going to be an essential thing for people if you want any any sort of traction. I can tell immediately when people use ChatGPT and they don't edit it. I'm just like, oh. Gosh. Okay. So you talk about helping people reposition skills they already have for business clients. So I really like this. So is there an example of one of your clients that you could say was a coach? And then because I know some people like don't even know that companies hire coaches and that and they pay a lot of money for like leadership coaches and consultants and different things. What is like, what is it? How do they, like, what's the first step, I guess, in doing that?
Yeah, so yes, absolutely. I can give you an example, but I think before I do that, it's important to just bring out a fact that a lot of people, especially, they're just so it's just a new idea. Like, oh, I could, do what I do, and I could, do that as a service for a business, or maybe
Right.
not a service, maybe is an experience, right? There's just so
Mm-hmm.
many opportunities. It could be something as crazy as axe throwing, right? It could
Right.
be,
Right.
it's really
Yeah.
a true thing, because when I first came to Florida, me and my husband, we opened up a axe throwing venue here,
Oh, really?
and we had a
What
lot.
was it called? They always have really cute names. What was it
Yeah,
called?
ours is called Boom Axe.
Yeah. I love it.
But anyway, we had a lot of business clients. We had Walmart, Dunkin'
Oh,
Donuts, like
right. Sure.
people coming in. They are looking for a new kind of like a company meetup, like something to relax with, something different, something to
Yeah. So, let's have sharp
experience.
axes around our coworkers and pray nobody snaps. I'm teasing.
We never had a
I've done it. I've done it. I was not good at it, but it was
really.
so funny. There were people, oh yeah, there were people who would do it. There was this one woman, she was absolute, and she's like, I've never done it. I swear to God. She was a natural at it.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm just like this preppy, corporate person, and I'm just very qualified to teach a corporate environment. No,
Right.
maybe you're just like really raw at what you do, but you're like just so passionate, you can translate it
Right.
into
Yes.
like deliverables for a business. Like you
Right.
can
Yes.
100%. Our deliverable, our kind of like thing that we were marketing was that it was a team experience, right?
Right.
A team bonding experience, and it worked.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just seeing it really broader. Your service, your experience, you have to see it broad, and you have to say, okay, how could a business benefit from what I do?
Right.
How can I
Right.
how can I help them, or how can I just make it fun for them, or how can I bring them
Right.
together, or how can I educate them? Like there's just so many different venues you can go.
Right. And one of the things that I really like about what you're saying is when you're like, what could I do? You literally are wiring your brain and opening yourself up to possibility.
Yeah,
And so I think that is, and that's like when the ideas come, and they might not come all at once, but once that question is cooking in your head,
yeah.
it,
Well, and you did ask me about a client. So sometimes, and most of the time, this is like I have very rarely met somebody who's already a professional what they do, and they're offering this to businesses. And
mm-hmm,
I have worked with people like that, and they're usually already very well known, and they're very established. But if we look at the solopreneur, and we're looking at the micro entrepreneur, we really look at somebody who has already a service they're doing. They have people they've offered the service to. Like I had a client,
mm-hmm,
Haley, I still work with her. She offered this really really beautiful and spiritual experience where people kind of close their eyes,
mm-hmm,
and now they go about their day in her environment that she curates, specifically to the people, to the energies in the room. And she had been doing it for like 5-6 years, right? Just like with groups of people.
right,
When she came to us, I was like, look, have you thought about offering this service for businesses? Because there's so many ways this could benefit them. And she
right,
was able to immediately translate those benefits into like a business language. And I think
right,
that's like one of the things that people need most help with, is like really like translating those benefits. Like, for example, one of the things that I immediately resonated was like, those people in those corporate environments, they're just always having to take care of things and being the leader
Right.
and taking
Yes.
control. And if they could get into your environment, they could just let go, and they can finally now experience the team in a totally different way. Like, they
Right.
don't
Right.
know maybe even the people that they work with, but now with the
Right.
eyes closed, with the senses
Yeah.
open, it was like, she has really beautiful stories, like how people like experience life when they're keep their eyes closed at a certain amount of time, but it
Right.
really worked. And now she's totally offering it as a really successful service to businesses.
That is so cool. And I could see where that would really, and I think businesses, sometimes people think when they're in that spiritual or meditation or like sort of self development space that corporations are like, oh, no, we can't do it. And what I found is companies are a lot more open to a lot of things
Yes,
because
yes,
they're very keen on helping maintain like their clients' mental health and doing things to really
the
help.
culture, there's
Oh, yeah.
so many companies that really care about the culture of
Yes.
company, and they really like, they really say that this is what they makes them special. If you've ever,
Right.
you know applied for a job, which I did at one part of my life, I remember seeing these really beautiful presentations companies put together. It's like, this
Right.
is culture, this is what we do, 4 times a year we do these beautiful, really fun company events, and we all come together, and we this is what
Right.
we stand for. And I think this is fun. What you do will translate into somebody's culture, right? It's just
Right. Right. Yes.
out there. That's the
Oh my
only.
gosh. I just love the way you think. You're just like, you're so smart. I just love this. So, if there is a solo entrepreneur listening right this second who's feeling a little overwhelmed, not quite sure, but they're liking this idea, they're sort of like, ooh, maybe I could do this. What is like one small step they can do today to move in that direction?
Well, I think the one thing they could do is just take a pen and paper, or notes, or Notion, or or just
Right. Yes. Yeah.
name all the tools, but just start writing out what you offer right now, and start thinking like, the if it's an experience, you don't want to necessarily think in terms of like pain points, right? But a lot of
Right. Right.
times you have to think with a service, it's like, okay, what problem am I solving, or what
Mm-hmm.
pain point am I helping solve? Or
Right.
so you start writing that out. Like, one column you have your service, the other column you have to kind of dig into your target market's desires, pains,
Right. Their hopes and dreams. Yes. And what
interests.
gets in the way. Yeah.
Exactly. So you start making that, like, bringing that connection. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we essentially teach at Denk, is like, we just got so overwhelmed teaching people one-on-one. And we were like, okay, why don't we just, make a course? It's just something everybody could get, and they could learn from there, because it's just so much information. And
Right.
we just wanted to reach to so many more people that we could.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like me here, there's not
Right. Yeah.
hours a day. But I think starting from that point, and then thinking of the messaging, what would be the messaging around what I do, how I would word
Mm-hmm.
it, not from my perspective, but from my market's perspective, from
Right.
their interest perspective. You never want
Yes.
to be like self-centered. I offer a service that I've been doing for 25 years, and I am the absolute best at.
Right. Right.
Never
No.
do that. That's
I
not.
am so, this is so good. This is so good that and you're hearing this from another expert who's like, because in my course, like my clients literally have to like sign a contract to say, from this point forward, it is no longer about me. It's always about my clients. Like all your marketing, even when you're talking about yourself, you have to be thinking, how do I make this relevant and meaningful? And
Yeah.
it's not like, and it's not also not getting focused on the features. It's really focusing on what does life look like after they work with you? Because I always think the most powerful thing in branding and marketing is when people can look, they're looking through the world, but your opinion is so clear that they're looking at it through your lens. Like that is so powerful if you get in
Yeah,
their head that way.
the transformation you bring, right?
Yes, exactly.
You have to bring something to the table. And
Yeah.
if it's a really unique thing, it's okay. That's a good thing. If it's not unique,
Yeah.
that's okay too. Just think about like
Right.
how you can differentiate yourself on the
But
market.
it will be individual to you. Like, I'm certainly not like the only branding and marketing expert in this world. And there are people who are as good as me. There are people who are way better than me. There are people I'm better than. You know what I mean? And it's like, but the thing is even though like every branding person worth their salt will have the same sort of process and sequence. Like, we might not do it exactly in the same order, but we know what all the steps are. And so it's like, but the way that I deliver it, the way that I interact with human beings is because I'm the only me out there. So it can be unique to you because there's the way that you do it is because you're the best competitive attribute.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times is just the insecurities. Really, a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
times the insecurities and confidence get in the way of really people tapping into that. And
right,
you're so blessed that you have, like, it's such a gift,
yeah,
and all the people that have, but the people that haven't yet, is like they have to go through a bit of that transformation to really be in their confident self, because
right.
in order to serve your clients the best way possible, you have to be confident in what you do, right? So
Yes, yes.
I think that's a little bit scary for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. Well, because it's like there are a lot of variables when you're working with human beings. Like, I provide marketing services, and once I hand it off to the client, it's like I'm literally like handing my baby over to adoption, and I'm just like, "Oh, please take good care of her." Like, and but it's going to be there's a huge variable on the other side. They're equipped with all the tools, but it's up to them to use the tools then that they. And
Yes.
so sometimes that's tough. Like, one of the things that happens often after people leave my program, like we have this, sort of 28-day marketing roadmap. So you're planning out your marketing pretty much 4 weeks in advance.
Hmm.
And because I can't, my head would explode if I tried to do more than 4 weeks. And so it's really nice. It's super manageable, and we practice together. Like, I mean, they know how to use it. The first thing people stop doing when they stop working with me is they stop doing that. They stop planning. And
Yes.
I'm like, that is not, you're right there. Like, because good marketing is never improvised. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah, so the inner focus is so important, that
yeah,
we have to, there's just so many things to keep in mind to be successful at anything you do.
right, right.
It's like you have to be not the perfect, you don't have to be perfect. You just
No,
have to be true to yourself, and you have to keep holding that focus, because a lot of times people have this fantasy, this is illusion that they want something, or they want to achieve a dream, but they don't really understand everything that goes into that dream. Or once they
right,
hit that
right,
goal, they're now maybe like, I don't know, so successful they have to travel all the time, and
right,
then they're just realizing, wait a minute, I don't even like to travel. Like, I'm a homebody.
right, right. Yes,
So it's like so important that you have to validate kind of like, your focus. First of all, you have to be clear, like, this is what I want to, this is my dream, this is the goals,
hmm,
this is what I'm working towards. But then it's like
right,
you have to really hold that focus. Otherwise, like you said, you could give somebody a plan. It's not going to mean anything if
right,
that's
right,
in line with their inner focus of actually, making, working through those goals, making through that plan, and
right, right,
a reality for them. It
right.
requires work. It requires
Yes.
dedication.
It's like a garden. You can't, no one, Anybody expects to plant a garden and just not tend to it and expect, I mean, I would hope that you wouldn't, and just think it's going to take care of itself because that's just not how it works. And your business is the exact same way.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part is you get out of it as much as you put into it. Like, I mean, you'll never be like, oh, I'm so mad. Like, I took care of my business today. Those words are never uttered by anybody. Okay. And now this has been so wonderful. So if people want to work with you or they're interested in maybe taking your course, how do they get in touch with you?
So I one of the ways is to go to the website denkb2b.com.
Okay.
And the other way is to get a hold of me specifically through my email address.
Okay, wonderful. We'll include that in the show notes.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
And now I just want to thank you so much for being on Curveball and for helping entrepreneurs. I think what you do, and I love your perspective. It was just, I feel so like good after talking to you. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.